What is up, everyone? All right. Well, welcome to our live call tonight on Tuesday, November 3rd. I want to welcome you all here. I would like to take a little bit of time to introduce myself for all of you who do not know me. My name is Richard Kitchen Master. That is my real last name. Not even joking. I can show you my ID if you come in. And so what I do is I basically teach and educate all the students in Visalia, California, right? I own and I operate Education's Finest Learning Center here. I've been educating and teaching students for about 5 years or so. And how I got into this field and tutoring and educating and teaching young minds is I actually went to COS, local college here, College of the Sequoias, many of you probably know. And what happened was I went there right out of high school, and I fortunately got some really awesome teachers. So when I was in high school, I hated school, just like probably the majority of students, right? I hated math, I hated English, I hated everything. So when I went to COS, my bright idea was, hey, I'm going to do the class that I don't like first, so I could just get them out of the way and be done with them, right? Well, I had this awesome math instructor for algebra, right? And his name was John Blakely, Professor Blakely, awesome professor, and he inspired me to do more with my life, do more with education, and he inspired me, and he kind of grew this desire and this passion into me to help other students, kind of how he helped me, right? And sometimes all we need to do well in school is someone, a mentor, a teacher, or even a friend, just to inspire us to be great, right? So what are we going to be discussing tonight? We're going to be doing proven ways to reduce test anxiety, okay? Many of my students have test anxiety, and this is what caused me to get on this live call tonight, was because I thought, hey, if many of my students have test anxiety, I'm sure that there are many others who could use some help, and that's why I'm here tonight, right? So this call can be anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes. I'm not going to keep you all night, but I think you're going to get a lot out of it because, like I said, a lot of my students do have test anxiety, so I think this is a huge topic that we kind of got to tackle. And I assure you, if you do some of the stuff that we talk about tonight, or you apply it with your children, or you educate your children and let them know what I told you guys about, it can really make a huge difference. Because I believe that the tests these days have way too much pressure associated with them, and in return can cause a lot of problems for students, right? So let's see what we can do to reduce these problems, right? So I went online and I did a lot of research and I coupled that with my own research and my own experiences in teaching tons of students, right? And so what I did is I put together a list of the best things that I think that could help you reduce test anxiety for your child, right? So here's the top things that I've learned. So before I actually go through that list, what I want to talk about is confidence, right? Confidence is the number one factor. If I said only listen to one thing I talked about tonight, it would be confidence, right? Most students lack confidence, right? And I understand that because teachers don't really instill that into them. All they're doing is telling these kids every day what they're doing wrong, what they're missing on their homework, what they're not doing well on their tests, right? So it's very hard for these students to get the confidence that they need. But confidence is the number one factor in doing awesome on your test, right? You need to walk into the classroom, walk into that test and own it. Just be like, you know what, I'm going to do great today, and let's just do it. The teacher's going to give me this test. You know, I'm either going to like it or dislike it, so I might as well like it and embrace it and just tell myself, hey, I can do this. I'm awesome. I studied. Let's do this thing, right? So I would like everyone, if you don't already have a pen, paper, or something, take notes. And again, this call is being recorded. So, if you don't happen to have a pencil or paper around, I will be emailing this call to everyone who's on it. So you can go back and listen to it again, or even let your kids listen to it, right? And share this guy with your friends. Share this recording with anyone who it can benefit, right? So again, confidence is key, and I'm going to repeat that. That's going to be like a huge theme for me, because I'm a big believer that confidence, even if it's like, I don't know if the word fake is right, but even if the confidence is just, you just keep telling yourself, I'm going to do awesome, I'm going to do awesome, and you walk in, I think it's going to make a big difference completely on your mindset. Okay, so check it out. The first thing on my list is be well prepared for the test is the best way to reduce test anxiety, right? Again, confidence. How are you going to get confidence? By being prepared. You're obviously not going to have confidence if you don't study for anything, you don't take good notes in class, and you just go and you're like, okay, I have a test, right? You do have to be prepared. So if you're prepared, you're not going to be as scared or anxious of the test, right? So make sure that they're prepared, okay? So space out your studying over a few days or weeks and continually review class material. Don't try to learn everything every night. Please, I'm going to repeat that. Don't try to learn everything the night before. Do not cram. I have so many people. I mean, when I went to college, I'm guilty of it as well, and I totally have friends who do it. Don't cram. Cramming is so bad. And even if you do cram, and then you're gonna have first of all, you're gonna get a bad night's sleep, right? So you're gonna go into the test tired, not your top notch. And remember, we're all looking for an edge. We're looking for that edge to make sure that we do well and we stay focused and we excel on that test, right? So spread your studying over days. A lot of people think, okay, my test isn't for 2 weeks, so I got 2 weeks to study. I'll do it later, right? No, start now. Start studying. And when I say studying, I don't mean homework. To me, homework is not considered studying, right? That is like one of the biggest myths ever. Homework is homework. Homework is not studying, okay? Studying is what you do outside of homework. So when you do homework, circle the problems you have the most difficulty with, and then go back and review other problems that are like that to build your confidence on those problems. Make sense? Okay. Try to maintain a positive attitude while preparing for the test and during the test, right? So stay positive. I have so many students, like the first thing that I tell my students, they say, hey man, you're going to get 100% on your test tomorrow, right? And they'll reply back with, I'll probably get like I'll probably pass, right? I'm like, no, dude, tell me right now that you're going to get 100%, right? Even if they may not get 100%, they need to believe that they are going to get 100%, right? Again, going back to the whole confidence thing. So I'll sit there until the student tells me, you know what, I can get 100%. Then boom, I give them a high five, and I let them go home. But try to maintain a positive attitude. I can do it. I will do it. I am smart enough to do well on this test, right? Positive reinforcing words and, will affect your attitude, right? And again, your outcome and the anxiety that you experience in your test, okay? Now, this is another big one. Exercising for a few days before the test will help reduce stress, right? If your child, gets a lot of anxiety and he's not playing sports or something, maybe have him, play soccer or football or something, right? And I understand that takes a lot of time, but it's good. And if you don't want to put him into sports, then just have them exercise, even just running, going for a jog, right? But if they do that, it totally lowers anxiety levels. And I know that from experience, right? Whenever I'm having a bad day or I'm stressed out or I'm even upset, right, I go to the gym, give me an hour, hour and a half in the gym. Oh my gosh, I just feel amazing afterwards, right? All the anxiety, it's gone, okay? Get a good night's sleep before the test. Again, you don't want to cram. You want to be able to go to bed by 9, 10 p.m. so you have 7 or 8 hours of awesome sleep. So when you wake up, you're refreshed and you're ready to tackle that guy, okay? Show up to class early so you won't have to worry about being late, okay? Because you want to be, you want to have your mind at ease. You don't want to be worrying about, miscellaneous things. You don't want to be worrying about anything other than doing awesome on your test. So showing up to class early removes that, okay? Chew gum if your teacher allows it during the test to help relieve test anxiety, right? It's simple, it's small, it's easy to do, and when you're chewing, it just takes your mind off the anxiety and more on the chewing of gum, right? Okay? Stay relaxed. If you begin to get nervous, take a few deep breaths slowly, right? So breathe in, count to 10, and then release, count to 10. And so relax yourself and then get right back to work, right? Read the directions slowly and carefully, okay? A lot of times people get anxious just because they don't really understand what the problem is even asking them. What am I supposed to do? Well, make sure you read the directions slowly and read them carefully, and that's going to help, okay? If you don't understand the directions on the test, don't be afraid to ask the teacher to explain it to you. Again, if you don't understand the directions, go ask the teacher. Just say, hey, I don't really get what this problem is asking me, or can you please explain it to me? Boom, they're going to be happy to help, okay? Now, there are some tips online that, if you were to Google something like, how to reduce test anxiety, for instance, some tips will say skim through your tests so you have a good idea of what's on the test so you can pace yourself. Don't do that. I completely disagree, okay? When you go through your test, you want to start on number 1. Don't flip through the test like most students do, because what's going to happen is most tests progressively get more difficult. So you're going to, flip to page 2 or 3, and you're going to see word problems or problems that look difficult. And those problems are going to psych you out. So when you do go to the beginning of the test, your mind isn't now on number 1. It's on, oh, crap, I have to, I have these hard problems that I don't think I know how to do, right? So do not skim through your test. Start at number 1, and then go to number 2, and then to number 3, etc. Okay, again, do not skip through your test. Okay, another thing to do before you start your test is flip it over. Flip your test over so you have the black, a blank back page, and this is what I'm calling a mind dump, right? This is exclusive to Richard Kitchen Master, right? So this is my little tip to you guys is do a mind dump. So any formulas that you think are going to be on that test, anything you think you're going to have to memorize through that test, instantly, right when you get the test, flip it over and make a list of all the formulas and everything you have to memorize, because as you begin to get nervous throughout the test, you're just going to flip it over, boom, and you're going to have everything there, okay? Because a lot of times when you do get nervous, your memory will fade, so you'll forget a formula, you'll forget certain things that you did study. So if you already have it right down the test, boom, you reference that guy and you're good to go, okay? Now, don't worry about how fast other people finish their tests. Just concentrate on your own test. So many times when I'm taking a test, I see people when they're finishing their test, they're all looking at them like, whoa, what the heck? Am I going too slow? Don't even worry about that guy. Who knows? He could have skipped 12 questions, and that's the only reason he's turning it in, right? Don't assume that. I'm not saying that is what happens. I'm just saying, don't compare yourself to him. Just focus, or her. Just focus on yourself, and you're going to do much better, okay? And believe me, I'm a slow test taker myself. When I was getting tested at COS or anywhere, I was one of the last ones out, right? But I always scored higher than the majority of the class because I took my time. I was focused on myself. It doesn't matter. It's not a race, right? We all get the same amount of time. You might as well use it all, right? If you don't know an answer to a question, then skip it for the time being, right? Come back to it later. And remember that you don't have to get every question right to do well on the test, right? That's true. I don't really like that philosophy too much, but the main part is if you don't answer if you don't know how to answer the question, skip it to the next one because often the very next question will give you clues or trigger something in your mind, and you'll say, oh yeah, I know how to do the one I was trying to do. Boom. And then you can go back to the question that you just skipped, and you could rock it out, right? Hopefully that's making sense to you. I've often had plenty of times where I didn't know how to do number 3. I go to number 4, and I start working on number 4, and then something I did in number 4 reminded me, boom, okay, yeah, I know how to do number 3 now. And then it just kind of solved its own problem, right? So focus on the question at hand, right? Don't let your mind wander onto other things. Again, just focus on that one thing. Don't think about what you're going to have for dinner that night, right? Don't think about you have to take your dog for a walk or, whatever you got to do. Don't think about, you're going to go hang out with your friends later. Think about strictly that question, focus on it, and try to eliminate all of the distractions around you, right? Don't focus on the people rattling their papers around, the people getting up, turning in their tests, the people that are getting up to ask the teacher something. Just focus on your question, and you're going to do awesome, right? So now, if you're still experiencing extreme test anxiety, which I doubt you will if you follow many of the rules that I've laid out here, but if you still are, seek help from your school counselor, right? And many schools, like I know the college here, has a DRC. So if you're tested, for extreme cases of anxiety, I personally believe it just stems from lack of confidence. So again, try to build up that confidence, right? Tell yourself those positive affirmations. I am going to do awesome. I am awesome. I studied. I'm super smart. I'm going to get 100% on that test, right? And just get that going in your mind, and you're going to feel much better about yourself. But again, there are things like the DRC where they will give you extra time to take your tests, right? And sometimes we need that, but that's only for extreme cases, right? So those are the best test anxiety relievers in my experience, as well as many of my students' experiences, right? So some of them may be simple, but I promise you, if you apply some of these to yourself or your child, you'll see huge improvements on your ability to take tests, right? Just remember, it all begins with your mind, okay? If you continue to tell yourself, I don't test well, I will never test well, I'm going to fail this test, then you most likely will, right? Make sure you learn to gain the confidence that we need in order to pass these tests and live a much better test-taking life, right? As they say, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right, okay? So that's all of the tips I have for you tonight. And I just want to thank you all for coming out, listening to this talk. It means the world to me that you awesome people are putting in the work and the time to educate yourself so you can better your child's future. I mean, that really touches my heart because you don't see that too often, and that means a lot to me, right? And this is why I'd love to extend my services to you. So if you feel that you need just a little bit more help in school for yourself or for your child, you're so welcome to give me, Richard, a call at 559-735-9940. Again, that's 559-735-9940, and I'd be more than happy to help you or your child succeed because you totally deserve it, okay? I mean, you totally deserve it. Your child deserves it. And that's what I'm here. That's what I'm passionate about, and that's what I want to do. Is I just love to help students succeed. And I hope that these tips really, really, really sunk in, and I hope that they can benefit many of you guys out there. Again, there is a recording available, so just play it back, listen to them, take notes, and you guys are all going to do awesome. Again, thank you so much. My name is Richard Kitchenmaster with Education's Finest Learning Center, and I hope you all have an awesome night. All right, guys, take care, and I'll see you on the next call.